Hello friends, welcome to Learner's Planet. Today we are going to start with the topic synthetic fibers and plastics. This will be our very first theory session for the topic. See, fibers you all must be aware of. What are fibers? These are thin thread-like material which can be woven into fabric. Fabric means of which the clothing is made up of. Say cotton is a fabric, rayon is a fabric, right? Nylon, it is used for making ropes and all. That is also made up of fibers. So fibers are thin thread-like structures which can be woven into fabrics. We'll be discussing about the synthetic fibers in this topic. So let's start our session here. See, what are fibers? The class of materials that are continuous filaments or are in discrete elongated pieces similar to lengths of thread are fibers. So these are what? These are the continuous filaments. These are similar to thread. Thread you all must have seen. These fibers, say these individual threads which are woven into sari, into a shirt or into a pant or a trouser or any other clothing is called as fiber, and this is obtained or it can be obtained from plants as well as from animals, or they may also be made by human beings. Now based on their origin, fibers are of two types. First is synthetic fibers and the natural fibers. Synthetic fibers, these are what? These are man-made fibers. Like nylon. Nylon is a synthetic fiber. Acrylic or Orlon is also a synthetic fiber. Rayon is a semi-synthetic fiber. That is, a natural fiber is processed to make the rayon. And natural fibers, say cotton, jute, these are obtained from plants. They are what? Natural fibers. So these are obtained in the form of these fine threads and they are woven into fabrics. Now let's discuss about the synthetic fibers. Natural fibers you all know. Synthetic fibers also you must be knowing, but here I'll be discussing few examples of synthetic fibers and also about their properties. Fibers that are made by human beings are called synthetic fibers, or you can simply say man-made fibers are called as synthetic fibers. There is one more category in this, regenerated synthetic fiber. What does it mean? These are made by chemically processing natural materials. Say by processing natural fibers or natural materials, we are getting what? Regenerated synthetic fiber. For example, rayon. Rayon is made by processing the cellulose which is present in the wood pulp. That is, to the cellulose some other chemical is added and it is processed. See, this is a rayon fabric with a shine. Cotton doesn't have that shine in it. Rayon is a shine, has got a shiny texture. It is also called as artificial silk. See, cotton is made up of cellulose. Does it have that silky appearance? No. But rayon has got it. Why so? Because the cellulose obtained from wood pulp is chemically processed. Some chemical is added to it. So rayon falls in which category? Regenerated synthetic fiber. That is, the natural material is processed to obtain this fiber. True synthetic fiber, that is, it is made entirely from chemicals. right? So synthetic fibers again falls in two categories. One is regenerated synthetic fiber and other is true synthetic fiber. Regenerated synthetic fiber, how it is made? It is made by chemically processing the natural fiber. Whereas true synthetic fiber, it is entirely obtained from chemicals, or it is made entirely from chemicals. Say nylon. Nylon was the first true synthetic fiber. Remember this. Nylon was the first true synthetic fiber made from chemicals obtained from petroleum or crude oil. Right? So nylon was the first true synthetic fiber. Nylon, the monomers, that is nylon is obtained from the chemicals obtained from petroleum. So there is a class of nylon, that is nylon 66. It is made up of hexamethylene, diamine and adipic acid. These are the chemicals which are obtained from this petroleum or crude oil, and these are mixed to produce nylon 66. That is a nylon which is used for making ropes. Right? So this is a true synthetic fiber, a fiber obtained from chemicals only. See, these are the ropes made up of nylon. You must be knowing this. And nylon fiber appears like this. See the thing, single thread. These are woven to make ropes and many other things. Right, it has got a high tensile strength. It is used for making bristles for toothbrushes, and it is also used for making textiles. Right? Now let's see what are natural fibers. Let's take a few examples of natural fibers. Natural fibers, as the name suggests, it is obtained from nature. See, the substances produced by plants and animals that can be spun into filament, thread or rope, and in a next step be woven, knitted, matted or bound, are called as what? Are natural fibers. So they can be, say, spun into filament first or thread or a rope, and in the next step it can be woven, knitted, matted or bound. See, sweaters made up of wool. Wool is obtained from sheep. So sheep is an animal and wool is what? Natural fiber that can be knitted into a sweater. Cotton is obtained from cotton plant. That is, a cotton fiber is a natural fiber. Jute is again obtained from plants. Likewise, silk is obtained from silkworm. That is also a natural fiber. The oldest fibers used by mankind are cotton. See, since 5000 BC we are using this, and silk. But even jute and coir can be cultivated. Say jute, cotton, all these can be cultivated. Let's these fibers, they are what? They are thread-like structures, right? These fibers are thread-like structures. Now, of what this thread is made up of? See, this thread is made up of many single units joined together, just like beads of a garland or beads on a string. So these many single units, they join together and they form a fiber. And this single fiber, which is made up of many single units, is known as a polymer. Poly means many and mer means units. So polymer is what? Polymer is composed of many units, right? And these fibers, they are made up of these many units, these single units beaded together or joined together. So every fiber is made up of this, or every fiber we can see is a polymer. And polymer is composed of many small units. Now as the single unit, poly means many, and its single unit is called as monomer. That is single unit. So number of single small units, they combine and they form polymer, and each unit is identical. Say cotton is made up of a single unit, that is cellulose. Cellulose itself is a polymer, right? Cotton is made up of cellulose. That is, the cellulose strings are woven to make cotton. This cellulose itself is a polymer. And it consists of, say, large number of glucose units beaded together. Got my point? So cellulose is a polymer. Say it's one thread of cellulose. It is what is a fiber? Which can be spun into filament. So this is spun into filament or thread and is then woven into fabric, that is cotton. But cellulose itself is a polymer and it is made up of glucose units. So glucose is the monomer of cellulose. This polymer is spun into filament or thread, and this thread is then woven into fabric. Right? So in a way, a fiber is made up of polymers, and polymer is made up of monomers, that is single units. Now again the question arises, polymers, these are natural polymers and artificial polymers. Natural polymers, that is the molecules which exist in nature, the molecules which can be obtained from plants and animals, are what? Are natural polymers. And artificial polymers, these are man-made polymers. That is, a single unit is chemically synthesized and is, say, allowed to link and form a huge chain. Right? Say I told you about nylon 66. It is made up of hexamethylene diamine and adipic acid. Now these two units are linked by chemical reaction, and it is linked to another subunit which again contains hexamethylene diamine and adipic acid. This is again linked to another subunit which contains hexamethylene diamine and adipic acid. So this polymer chain consists of hexamethylene diamine and adipic acid only, and it is made in laboratory, so it is an artificial polymer, whereas cellulose is obtained from plants. It is a natural polymer. Cellulose this polymer is used for making the fiber like cotton, whereas this fiber is used for making nylon. Now let's see the characteristics of polymers. Here it is. The word polymer comes from two Greek words, poly meaning many and mer meaning per unit. So a polymer is made up of many repeating units. It's just like the beads of a chain. Beads bonded together. It is a polymer. And its single unit is what? Monomer. Synthetic polymers are formed by chemical reactions in which a large number of molecules called monomers are joined sequentially, forming a chain. So these are joined sequentially forming a chain, which the chemical molecules. These are joined and they form the chain. Like PVC, polyvinyl chloride, of which your pipe is made up of, say water spraying pipe. That is made up of PVC. And the monomer unit there is vinyl chloride. Right? So vinyl chloride. Don't go deep into the formula of this. Just remember the many vinyl chloride units, they link together and they form polyvinyl chloride. Right? See, polymers, this is a synthetic polymer. And polymers also occur naturally. I told you cellulose is a polymer which can be woven into fabric. Even starch. You must be aware of this starch. You must have done the test for starch. Right? If a test for starch in food. So starch is also a polymer and its monomer units are also glucose. Now a question must be arising in your mind. When cellulose contains glucose as monomer, starch contains glucose as monomer, then why starch cannot be woven into fabric? The reason, my dear, is that in cellulose, the glucose units are linked differently. Whereas in starch, the glucose units are linked in different way. So that your starch cannot be woven into fabric. Right? Even protein is a polymer. Proteins which you eat, that is a polymer. Say protein if I take, which is present in egg. Egg albumin is a protein. It is a polymer. It consists of large number of amino acids. So what are the monomers in proteins? Amino acids. Even your fat is a polymer. So these are all naturally occurring polymers. But of these, cellulose is the one polymer which can be woven into fibers, which can be changed into fibers. See, wood and stems of plants are made up of polymer called cellulose. Cellulose is also what makes fibers like cotton, hemp. So cotton and hemp are made up of cellulose, which is a natural polymer. And its monomer unit is glucose. This can be twisted into threads and weaved into clothing. Got it? This is the difference between the synthetic and the natural polymers. Starch is also one of the naturally occurring polymers. It is found in potatoes, corn, rice, grains, etc. It's a form of sugar only. The monomer unit of starch and cellulose both is glucose. But the difference lies, where the difference lies? The difference lies in the linking of glucose units in cellulose and starch. See, cellulose is present in leaves, in woody pulp. Can we digest wood? Can we just eat wood and digest it? No. But starch is present in potatoes and we can easily digest it. So here lies the difference, students. The type of linking is different in them. Cellulose, we can't digest cellulose. You can't just pick up leaves from the trees and eat it and digest it. No, it's not possible. But starch we can digest. So there is a difference in linking of glucose units in these polymers. Right? So this is the difference between the synthetic and the, let's see what is the difference between the synthetic polymer and the natural polymer. Synthetic polymers are made in laboratories. The single units, they are chemicals obtained from petroleum, right, or natural gas or coal, whereas the natural polymers are obtained from plants and animals. Now we'll be discussing about the synthetic polymers or the synthetic fabrics. So the polymers which can be woven into fabric, or the polymers which can be changed into threads and filaments, and finally it is woven into fabric, are called as fibers. So fibers are drawn, first of all what is done is that the polymers are changed into the long threads or filaments. And how? Fibers are drawn out into long threads or filaments, usually by spinning methods. The polymers, they are changed into the fibers, and these fibers are drawn into threads by spinning methods. Let's discuss about the synthetic fibers or the synthetic polymers now. Synthetic fibers, of course. We'll be discussing about the examples of synthetic fibers like rayon, like nylon, like polyester. We'll be discussing about their properties, right? Before moving to the examples of synthetic fibers, let's first discuss the advantages and the disadvantages of synthetic fibers over natural fibers. So synthetic fibers, we have got rayon here, we have got nylon here, polyester here, terracotta is there, natural fibers, cotton, jute. What else is there? Wool. Here it's orlon, which is an artificial wool. So we'll first discuss about the advantages of synthetic fibers. Then we'll discuss about the examples, some of the examples of synthetic fibers and their properties. Man-made fibers are called synthetic fibers. You all know this now. It is made up of synthetic polymer. See, like nylon is made up of hexamethylene diamine and adipic acid. Polyvinyl chloride is made up of vinyl chloride or processed natural polymer. Like say our cellulose is chemically processed to produce rayon. Okay. Let's see the characteristics of synthetic fibers. First of all, they dry up quickly. You must have seen. If you say if you'll keep cotton and rayon fabric for drying, which will dry up first? Rayon. They are durable. They are less expensive. That is, they are, you can't say cheap, but they are less expensive. Say a pure cotton fabric is very expensive. If you take just terracotta or terylene or polyester fabric or rayon or nylon fabric, it will be cheaper. It is easy to maintain. So you can take an example of a woolen sweater, woolen sweater which is obtained from a very high quality sheep. And on the other side there is orlon or acrylon, which is artificial wool. The orlon sweaters are available these days. You can just see the difference in them. And see, the orlon sweater will be easy to maintain as compared to the pure wool sweater, and will dry up easily also. Though the woolen sweater will be warm, it has its own characteristic properties. But the one thing with the artificial or synthetic fibers is that they are easy to maintain. They are readily available and also easy to wash. Say with pure wool fabric, or you can say the pashmina wool is available there, that needs a high quality of care. A good care is required there. It should be kept properly, it should be washed with mild detergent, it should not be used roughly. But if I'm taking any any artificial, any shawl or any sweater made up of artificial thing, made up of synthetic fiber, it will be easy to maintain. So these are few good characteristics or good unique characteristics of synthetic fibers which make them very, very useful. Right? These are the characteristics of synthetic fibers. Or you can say these are also the advantages of synthetic fibers. Because of these unique characteristics, they are useful. Now there are certain disadvantages of synthetic fibers also. Let's see what. Most fabrics made from synthetic fibers require careful ironing as they melt very easily. You must have seen see the cloths made up of these synthetic fibers like rayon or nylon. They catch fire easily and they melt. They stick to the skin. After melting, they stick to the skin. So it is very dangerous to wear synthetic fibers while cooking or while burning firecrackers. Most of the fabrics made from synthetic fibers absorb very little moisture. They hardly absorb moisture. See the t-shirts, the sports t-shirts which are available, they do not absorb moisture. Right? That is made up of the artificial fabric or artificial fiber or the synthetic fiber. It doesn't absorb moisture. They become sticky when the body sweats, which makes them uncomfortable to wear in hot weather. This you must have observed. You can't wear an artificial silk saree or an artificial say terracotta anything terracotta t-shirt or terracotta pant or say terylene or the polyester fabric in hot weather. Most of the fabrics made from synthetic fibers, they catch fire very easily. Synthetic fibers melt on heating. So the fabric melts. Fiber is melting, so the fabric will melt. And it sticks to the body of person wearing it. Therefore, we should not wear synthetic clothes while working in kitchen or in laboratory. So these are few disadvantages of synthetic fibers also. These are few disadvantages. In advantages, you can see that they do not wrinkle very fast. Right? They have got good elasticity. You can stretch it. They have got good elasticity. You can easily differentiate between a synthetic fiber and a natural fiber. Natural fabric which we are using these days is cotton. Pure cotton, and keep another fabric made up of polyester or rayon. You can see the difference. So synthetic fibers have got lots of advantages, but there are certain disadvantages also. Right? So this is about the synthetic and the natural fibers. Now I'll be concluding this session. In the next session, we will be discussing about the examples of synthetic fibers. We will be taking some examples like rayon. We'll be discussing about the properties and also the uses. Nylon, polyester, acrylic. Right? So all these things I'll be covering in the next session. I hope you have enjoyed this session. I have tried to make it interesting. And just go through your text. It's a very, very simple thing. It doesn't need a elaborate session to explain the difference between the synthetic and the natural fibers. Right? Thank you, students, for listening patiently. Just go through the text, and in the next session, we'll be discussing about the synthetic fabrics. Right? Thank you once again, and do have a nice time ahead.